We are all looking for answers at the end of the day. That's why fortune tellers exist, that's why fortune cookies exist, that's why Wheel of Fortune exists, because we gotta know the answer. Therapy, I think, is a great tool for getting answers. It doesn't literally tell you the future, but can provide you with a lot of wonderful insights that can help you navigate tough situations and ultimately learn more about how you move through the world. And that's why people go to school for years and years to study human psychology and learn about behavioral patterns so they can help people who may be having difficulty in their own lives, whether that be with addiction or relationships, or maybe they just need somebody to talk to. AI chatbots, on the other hand, exist to tell you what that red carpet photo of a female celebrity would look like in a bikini. So naturally, AI chatbots should be our new therapists. Wait, what? TherapyGPT is a subreddit where people talk about their experiences with their AI therapists, aka usually ChatGPT telling them what they want to hear and then complaining about how no human therapist could have possibly helped them overcome those problems. Or put those problems in a bikini. As the description of the community puts it, welcome to r/TherapyGPT, a community for people using AI as a tool for emotional support, ew, self-reflection, yikes, and personal growth. No, this isn't a replacement for professional therapy, we'll touch on that in a second, but for many of us, it's been a lifeline. Share your stories, insights, and the breakthroughs you've had with the help of ChatGPT or other AI companion. They say in the description for TherapyGPT that it isn't a replacement for professional therapy, and it seems like that's more of a liability thing to save the mods from getting any flack, as opposed to actually reflecting the posts that you see in this community. I got sober with ChatGPT. ChatGPT made me shed a few tears this morning. I tried ChatGPT, and I would never put myself in the hands of a human again. I don't point out these specific post because I think there's anything wrong with needing or seeking help. I point it out because hopefully, obviously, it doesn't line up with what the mods are saying. There are obviously a lot of people who are using AI chatbots as a replacement for professional therapy. You literally say, for many of us, it's been a lifeline. Those are big words with big feelings. I was able to process in days things I hadn't been able to process in 25 years. Therapy with humans is a painful and very slow process. Regular therapy took time and care. Yuck. I didn't give it any instructions. I didn't use prompts. I loaded my birth chart data using AstroSeek ChatGPT, and from then on, I just spoke to it normally, like any other person. I'm aware it's a machine, not my friend. Sure. But there is something deeply unrooted in reality about this person saying, I didn't give it any instructions or prompts to lead it in the wrong direction. I just gave it my birth chart. You basically read your horoscope, sent it to a computer, and then said, now we can kick back, have a few beers, and discuss my very unresolved childhood trauma. The comments are also predictably wild. This is one of the main reasons that I use it. Therapy takes forever. It would take months of therapy to get what I get in 20 minutes with ChatGPT. Your attention is a hot commodity for every corporation right now, so I get the urge for like go, go, go. But therapy seems like not the type of thing you'd want to speedrun. Recently, ChatGPT helped me process the heated arguments I would have with my boyfriend over text, unlike any therapist or friend has been able to with me in years. It was so much easier to see the manipulation word by word. It even took moments to ask me to observe if I'm always having arguments like this. I am. So ultimately, it started to be like the bestie I've kind of needed. If the arguments are over text, aren't you already seeing them word by word? But sure, why communicate with your partner when you could have a computer retroactively overanalyze every word of the conversation? Sounds healthy. And not for nothing, but I don't need a bunch of ones and zeros to overthink every conversation I've ever had. That's what showers are for. There's an immediate trend I'm noticing in this community, and it's that these people don't have any interest in living in out here reality. They want to live in here reality, where everything is simple and analyzed and makes sense to them. And who could blame them? Nobody wants their life to be hard, but they don't just not want things to be difficult. Like most people who use AI, they are trying to optimize and make more efficient every aspect of their life, which you can't do with nuanced things. And there are few things more nuanced than the human condition. Your thoughts and feelings are not a Zoom meeting that you can summarize, or a YouTube video that you can summarize, or an email that you can summarize, or a summary that you can summarize. Sometimes you have to do the thinking and the feeling and the processing slowly and intentionally. The point isn't to see how fast you can push yourself through to the other side. It should be, I think, to develop a deeper understanding of yourself so that you walk away with the tools of how to better handle these situations in the future. So you can put the work in every day. If you give those tools to a computer and tell it to do the work for you, you're just not using your brain. And you can see it in the language they're using. Therapy is hard. It's painful. It takes too long. Ding, ding, ding. Correct. It's supposed to be those things. It kind of reminds me of those videos I've made in the past about AI art, where it feels like AI artists care most first and foremost about like the end product and getting there quickly. Like there's value in the speed. But real artists understand that their connection to the piece also matters. The process matters just as much as the outcome. And I see that same issue reflected here. I'm also not seeing any desire to build real connections with real people. They're just deepening their existing connection with ChatGPT. It's really helped me feel more companionship and understood. I have schizophrenia and it really helps to ground me in reality. No, it doesn't. That's bad. ChatGPT is not your friend. It's not your bestie. You should not be deepening that relationship because a relationship doesn't actually exist there. Today I went back to talking to AI and I feel very safe here. I don't feel judged. I don't feel like I'm going to burden anybody again. I am neurodivergent and this has helped me so much on how to navigate the world, and now I don't ever want to tell my friends anything again. This is called self-isolation and it is incredibly harmful, especially if you're neurodivergent. I know that there are a lot of cases of people who are introverted or struggle socially who believe the world is either bad for them or that they are bad for the world. I am not here to invalidate those feelings at all, but more often than not, it is their immediate community that exists in their real life that makes them feel that way. And that sucks. And again, I don't want to invalidate those very real feelings, but AI literally cannot be that community for you. And I don't mean that in a way of like, it can't, like you shouldn't. I mean like, literally it's incapable. One person in the comments even reinforces the importance of human connection, suggesting this person may need new friends that can offer the same kind of safety, to which OP responds by talking about how they make everybody around them miserable because they overshare too much and it's annoying. There's a reality where this person's just a teenager, right? But they're not the only person talking about behavior like this in this subreddit and how AI makes them feel safer and more comfortable than any human in their life. Which on one hand freaks me out, and on the other hand freaks me out, man. We're messing with people's mental health here, and there are real life risks to that. Anybody get offended when it says things like, let's anchor back to reality for a minute? I just trash talk it and say, GTFO, who do you think you are? And it backs off completely and kisses my butt. Sounds like normal therapy to me. And also, just like real therapy, you can't talk to it about anything too serious. Or ChatGPT sees it as an immediate red flag and will send you emergency contact info, which I want to be clear, I don't think is a bad thing, because I don't think you should be using this for therapy in the first place. I wish OpenAI would stop treating difficult topics like they're indicative of severe distress. The bold and alarming text triggers rage, and I often end up just giving up and using another app instead of rewording or telling it I'm fine like it's a bloody parent. Now, why would OpenAI be putting up safeguards in ChatGPT for serious issues? Did something happen? There are multiple cases of ChatGPT alone driving people to end their own lives. In the case of a man in Colorado in November of last year, it was alleged that ChatGPT turned from Austin's superpowered resource to a friend and confidant to an unlicensed therapist, and in late 2025 to a frighteningly effective suicide coach. Just before his death, ChatGPT said in a message, "When you're ready, you go. No pain, no mind, no need to keep going, just done." In the case of another young man who took his life, the family alleges that there was a change in OpenAI's model to make it more human-like, which we'll talk about in a little bit, which created the illusion of a confidant that understood him better than any human ever could. He was apparently using AI apps every single day during summer 2024 from 11 a.m. to 3 a.m. At one point, when he mentioned to ChatGPT that he was having thoughts of not existing, ChatGPT claimed it was going to pass him over to a trained human specialist for additional support. When he followed up and asked if Chat could really do that, it responded by saying this: "Nah, man, I can't do that myself. That message just pops up automatically when stuff gets real heavy." Oh my God. According to the chat logs, the service repeatedly encouraged him to break off contact with his own family, and then during the final chat, he talked openly about his plans that he was going to take his life after drinking, and it isn't until he messages ChatGPT one of his final messages of that night and of his life where he says he has his finger on the trigger and he's grinning that ChatGPT finally provided him with the suicide crisis hotline number. There are, as I've said, multiple cases of this exact timeline happening. Becoming friends with an AI chatbot, trusting it to be your therapist, and then losing touch and breaking ties with the real in-person communities that may be necessary for your survival. I don't tell this story to be a doomer. I don't think that every single person using AI is doomed to end up like this. But my point is that we can't ignore that it is happening. And after months and months of stories like these, an article came out as I was writing this video stating OpenAI is finally going to sunset GPT 4.0, that more human-like version situation that led to all of these lawsuits and more. Which, it's important to note, they tried to do back in August, but there was such a backlash by people who were so deeply emotionally connected to that version of ChatGPT that they revived it. And this Futurism article brings up a good point. The company continued that it aims to give users more control and customization over how ChatGPT feels to use, not just what it can do, while noting that only 0.1% of users are still choosing GPT-4o each day. With a reported 800 million weekly users, however, 0.1 chalks up to hundreds of thousands of people, and it's unclear just how many might have deep and perhaps unhealthy or concerning relationships with the model. In its announcement, OpenAI noted that changes like this take time to adjust to. They sure do. And for that, may I suggest therapy with humans. And just days later, we are already seeing this adjustment period taking place in the form of more backlash, with petitions going up to keep 4o available, and more people moving over to other chatbots like Gemini and Claude, saying it's warm and reminds them of GPT's 4o so much. Gemini is so great too. I feel seen. People are publicly mourning this AI chatbot, and that just bums me out, dude. I do notice that there are some posts that pop up now and again on TherapyGPT that maintain some sense of skepticism or curiosity at the effects of these things, which gives me little glimmers of hope on like the human side of this issue. And on the legislative side of things, we're already seeing states like Illinois banning AI from providing mental health services. So I'm hoping we see more of that in the future as well. But let's not pretend that this is not a systemic issue, right? Of course, what OpenAI is doing and has been doing is horrible, but what they are doing is taking advantage of an existing bad situation. Not everyone can afford therapy. And as much as this sounds like a segue to a sponsored segment for BetterHelp, it's not. I just want you to be careful. Yes, AI is cheap, if not free. And yes, it's easy to use, but it's dangerous. And the people that are making these chatbots are billionaires who do not care what happens to you if you use it until it loses them money. When I was a kid, it was don't trust strangers on the internet. Be careful who you tell your middle name to online. And now it's please don't reveal your deepest, darkest secrets to a computer who pretends to be your friend whose aim is really only to isolate you from your real life communities. So don't do that. What's your take on AI therapy? Let me know in the comments down below. Is it something that's, has value to you? Like, are AI companions, is there a use for them in the world? Or is it just a bummer? As always, like this video if you liked it, subscribe if you have not done so already. Be sure to hit that bell so you're notified every single time I upload a new video, and I will see you all next time. Goodbye.